Hey everybody, it's Mr. Carr again, and today we're going to be covering 2.2 Day 1. This is our first transformation that we'll be covering. It's called translations. So a couple of things, let's reiterate some of our vocab that I discussed in the previous video. When we talk about transformations, we're talking about how do we turn a pre-image into an image. That is always what's going to be happening. So the pre-image is the kind of the starting image or starting figure in the transformation, and the image is the end figure. Okay, so we start at the pre-image, we're going to end at the image. And again, that's using prime notation. So these are my pre-images here. If I just label it with ABC, but then my image is labeled with primes here. Okay, so A prime, B prime, C prime, they correspond to A, B, and C, but when I do the prime, that means that's the image. That happens after the transformation. So let's define a translation. It is a type of transformation that involves only horizontal or vertical movement. Okay? And I should really say this. I should say that it involves horizontal and or vertical movement. Because what you're going to see is sometimes we do one, sometimes we do the other, sometimes we do both. Okay? Here's the isometry again, and isometry is a transformation that preserves length and angle measure. We also call this a congruence transformation. Again, it's congruent. So one of the big things with translations is once I translate that image, it is congruent to the original. So we have maintained that size and shape throughout the whole process. When we write the rule, it follows this notation. Basically, every value, X and Y, is going to be shifted by doing plus or minus a certain value to each of those coordinates. Okay, and so I'm going to show you how that looks more on here. So we're going to start with writing the rules for each of these cases. So I'm going to look at, I've got A here, I got A prime up here. I know it's a little hard to read on this screen, but that's the A prime is the dashed line. So when I look at that movement, I really only need to focus on one letter because they all should do the same thing. But I'll show you just to make sure we confirm it on some of the other ones. So I focus from A to A prime. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 to the left. So that means when I look at that as a rule, I'm starting with X, Y. I'm going to put an arrow. Every single translation, it's going to start like this. Okay? Every single one. So that is one thing that's going to be consistent. So you write your rules, needs to start like this. Then we're going to write what happens to the X values. So X, if we said, I showed it, it's 3 to the left. So if I'm going to the left, that is a negative direction for the X direction. So I'm going to subtract 3 from X. Okay? Then I'm going to look at how do I get from here going up. So I go 1, 2, whoops, nope, just 2. So I go 1, 2, up. So since I'm going up 2 in the Y direction, I'm adding to 2. And there's my rule. So a quick summary of this is that it's moving 3 left, 2 up. That's what's happening. Okay? Now just confirm that, I'm going to look at all the other ones. Does C and C prime do the same thing, and B prime? So C goes 1, 2, 3 to the left, 2 up. B goes 1, 2, 3 to the left, 2 up. So we're good. Okay, part B. Again, just focus on one letter. So if I look at P here, it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to the right. So since it's moving 6 to the right, I'm going to add 6 to the X coordinate. When I look at the Y direction, it's not moving. It's not going up or down. So I can either write it as Y plus 0 if I want to just stay consistent with the plus minus idea, or I could just write it like this, where I write X plus 6 and then just leave it as Y. Okay? So I can do either one. They're both accurate. It's just whatever you kind of prefer. And the last example here, 3 units to the right. So if it's to the right, that is a positive X direction. 6 units down is a negative Y direction. So we're going to take x plus 3, since it's going 3 to the right, and y minus 6. Okay, that's it. That's for writing our rules. All we have to do is we're trying to map out the movement of the graph into this format like this. And it's always the same format. It's x, y, arrow, what happens to x and y? So let's look at some of these other ones here. So this is actually going to give us the rule, and then we're going to go and apply that to these different scenarios. So find the coordinates of the vertices of the figure after the given translation. Okay, so the image of z is, so we're saying that z is starting at -4, -3. And we're saying that it's going to follow this rule here. So the image of z, we're going to look for z prime is the idea. That's the image. When you look at this, you literally have to just plug in the numbers. Okay, to get to z prime, I'm going to take -4 plus 3, and I'm going to take -3 here for the second value, subtract 6. That's it. Just follow the rule. So z prime is going to be at the point, -4 plus 3 is a -1, -3 minus 6 is a -9. Okay, image of I. So again, we're looking for I prime. Let's do the same exact thing. So we're going to look at -2, we're going to add 3, and then we're going to have -2 minus 6. So that means I prime is at -2 plus 3 is a +1, -2 minus 6 is a -8. This last one, a little bit of a trick. I'm actually giving you the image here. Remember, it's got the prime, so that is my image. So if that's my image, I'm asking for the pre-image. Try to think about, how do I get from the, like, remember, this is going from pre-image to image. So if I'm starting at the image, how do I go backwards to get there? Maybe, hopefully, you're thinking opposites. If I need to go backwards with stuff, I can just do the opposite. So instead of doing this as a +3 minus 6, to get to v, I'm actually going to take -2 minus 3 and -4 plus 6. A little bit of a tricky way to think about it, but it's still the same idea that we're going to move it the opposite way to get from pre-image to image. Sorry, from the image back to the pre-image. Okay, so that's what this question is asking for. Here's my image. How do I get backward to the pre-image? These are super easy. Here's my pre-image. Here's my pre-image. How do I find the image? Like that. Okay, so now I'm going to work these backwards so that v is going to be at -5 and a +2. Okay, the last example we're going to cover is just going over performing this on a coordinate grid. So all we need to do is we just need to follow this rule, -2 and +3. So I really wanted to, I can map out every single one of these points. We got M, Y, T, Q. So if I want to, I could put all the points down and I just add the numbers each time and plot those points. Okay, you could do kind of what I did up here for these two images up here for the first two. I don't know if I want to do that because I just know this is going to go, if it's going x minus 2, that's moving to the left 2. Y plus 3 is going to go up 3. So I'm just going to do that to every single point. So I've got y is going to go 1 to the left, and I'm going to go up off the graph, but 1, 2, 3 up. There's y prime. Okay, m is going to go to the left, 1, 2, 3 up. So that is m prime. Q is going to go 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3 up. So there's Q prime. Okay, and then T is going to go 1 to the left, 1, 2, 3 up for T prime. So connect all those. Other than my bad drawing of that line, the last part, that's an exact copy of the two. And again, remember what I did on here. I just followed the rule of 2 to the left, 3 up. I labeled my new image with primes. So I went from the pre-image to the image. Okay? So let's do the same thing on letter B here. So I'm going x plus 4. That's going to go to the right 4. Y minus 4 is going to go down 4. Every single point follows that pattern. So I'm going to go from E. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's E prime. Again, label with prime. W is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's W prime. And then G goes 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. G prime. Should be an exact copy now. All right. So last recap, translations. It follows this notation here, right here. Depending on which way you move, you're going to do plus or minus a certain value to every X and Y coordinate. Okay? So it's just all we're doing is horizontal and vertical transformation here. Okay, so that is it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, we'll discuss this further when we keep going through some more transformations.